We have been building since the dawn of time. Now it's time to build your home service business smarter with Service Titan, and Titan Pro Technologies is here to help you navigate and unlock its full potential. Welcome to Titan Talk.
All right, everybody, welcome into the webinar today. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Bernie Olilla with Titan Pro Technologies, and we're going to give you guys a nice experience here over the next 45 minutes because we're going to walk you through one of the most powerful and really underutilized tools in the entire system, and it's going to be Marketing Pro. All right. So if you're like most trades businesses out there, you probably have thousands of customers in your system that haven't heard from you in 6, 12, 18 months, and they might forget who you are. But today, what we're going to do is show you exactly how to change that and how to turn that dormant list into book jobs and recurring revenue and 5-star experiences and reviews automatically. So before we jump in here, what I want to be able to do is get to know everyone a little bit. So if you could, in the chat, do me a favor, drop your name, your location, and what trades you're in, and then we can kind of dive in here, and I'll give you guys a second to do that. All right. And as we're kind of dropping our stuff in there, what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about the people that are going to be talking to you today, the experts over here at Titan Pro Technologies. One of them is Jennifer Deer. She's been with the company since it started, and she's truly an expert in the platform itself. And Aaron Coleman, who's also been working at Service Titan for a long time, and he's an expert in Marketing Pro. So what we're going to be able to do right now is turn it over to them in a second, and it's going to be about 45 minutes of them walking you through real time how you can accomplish some of these things inside of Service Titan. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in as we go. We'll read them all at the end, and we'll also have a Q&A session for you guys to get more information at that time. All right. But really what we want to do, because most businesses are leaving anywhere from 50 to 100K and more on the table each year that they're already paying for because they're not using this feature in the platform the right way. And we're going to help you guys fix that today. So what I want to do is bring in Jennifer and Aaron, and we can kind of get this show on the road. Jennifer, Aaron, what's up, guys?
Welcome, guys. We're so excited to have everybody joining us today. Looks like we've got a lot of people in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Orlando. They're not far from me, so hi, guys. This is very exciting. We're really looking forward to going through the next 45 minutes with you guys with regards to Marketing Pro. We'd also like to know how many of you guys are using Marketing Pro. That would be very helpful as well. Awesome. It looks like we got a bunch coming through. Now, well, with Marketing Pro and Service Titan, right? So that we're going to kind of go over different options within here, especially with doing emails and doing segments and reaching back out to your customers. So Marketing Pro is a Service Titan's built-in marketing automation platform. Think of it as your marketing team that never sleeps, right? It's sending emails, texts, and reviews, requests 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while your techs are out in the field. What makes it different from a tool like MailChimp or Constant Contact? 2 things. The first one is it lives inside Service Titan. So it has access to every job, every customer, every piece of equipment in your system. Second, it closes the loop so you can see exactly which campaign caused which book job and exactly how much revenue it generated. So there's no third-party tools even needed. Everything's all in one system. So what we're going to try to cover today is we're going to go over email campaigns, SMS text marketing, review management, Google Ads, campaign reporting, automations, and triggers. So what is Marketing Pro? It's Service Titan's built-in marketing automation platform, the revenue engine inside Service Titan. It sends emails and text directly from Service Titan, no third-party tools needed. It segments the customers by job history, equipment age, location, and membership statuses. And it automates your follow-ups, win-backs, and seasonal campaigns on autopilot. And then you can track every campaign's revenue from send to book job, manage your online reputation, and automate those reviews. So your return on investment versus standalone email tools are 3 to 5 times. Your average open rate on segmented campaigns is 40%. There's no extra cost within Marketing Pro, and you can run this 24/7. So with email campaigns, we're going to turn this over to Aaron, and he's going to kind of walk you through how to pull those segments and be able to start creating those campaigns moving forward. Go ahead, Aaron.
Thank you, Jennifer. Now, with email campaigns, I want to start with a specific email, and that's the win-back campaigns. Here's the scenario ultimately. You have a customer who got their HVAC system about 14 months ago, and they haven't called you since. Maybe they moved on to a competitor. Maybe they just forgot you exist. A win-back campaign sends them a personalized email that says, "Hey, customer, it's been a while since we serviced your system at 123 Main Street. We wanted to check in and make sure everything's running well." That email feels personal. It's not spam. And on average, you see about 18 to 15% of those customers end up booking again. So if we could switch it over, I do have my screen shared and I want to kind of walk you through exactly how to set these up. Awesome. So once you navigate into your service tie-in, you're going to come over to marketing. And first, we want to build the audience off of that. So you're going to come down into retention segments. And then from there, we're going to create a new segment. And you can call it whatever you feel. We'll call this one serviced 12 months and greater. Once we create that segment, you're going to want to add the filter. First, this is going to be about something. From there, we're going to drop it down and click on job. Moving on into what type of job you want to target. And then you can choose anyone, but for this one, we're going to do service and repairs. Then you're going to want to add a filter to that so that we can get exactly when this last completed job was. So we'll do completed date and we'll switch it to greater than. And we want to do months here. So greater than 12 months in the past. Now, what's that going to do is you can see that it narrowed down the audience for the customers that you did a service or a repair on 12 months prior to. From there, we can go ahead and save the audience and it builds it out ultimately too. So then you can go through the full audience segment to make sure everything lines up. Now, this is where we're going to actually create the campaign itself. So we're going to go back to Campaign Manager and then I pre-selected one. So you would create campaign. You're going to want to do a pro campaign. We could call it the same thing that the audience is. Serviced 12 months and greater. And we'll start building it. Now the goal of this campaign, typically you can see what the options are. We'll just click other for this instance. And then you go next. You're going to select the audience that we just created, 12 months and greater, so that it pulls in that total reach. We'll want to save that. You're going to want to add a tracking number in for everything so that it gathers in for everybody that's tied directly to this campaign. And it's quick and easy to go through it. You just type in your area code, select which number you would like, choose that number, make sure it routes to that default number that you have set up in the system. And then you go ahead and add it.
Hey, Aaron, why is it important really quick to put in a tracking number?
I mean, ultimately, how are you going to know where they're calling from? You want to make sure that from all marketing aspects, you're going to have a tracking number tied to any campaign that you have going outside of email, SMS, Google Ads, things like that, because then it allows you to accurately track where those customers are coming from and attribute those calls to the right campaigns.
So in other words, I can see where my dollars are really going.
Yep. Ties everything
Amazing.
back so you have a better overview of everything and you're not playing a guessing game ultimately. So once we have the tracking number saved, we can go, now we see we have the goal set up, the tracking number, the audience that we pre-selected. Now this is where you're going to add your content. And this is the content that's going to go into the email that the customers are going to see on their end. So for this, we're going to set it up as a one-time campaign. You can set it up to launch whenever you would feel. And then ultimately too, the sequence trigger. Now for this instance, we're going to want to click job booked or call created, because once you have them on that call, then you can go ahead and get them closed. Or if you have a scheduling option, it allows them to book directly. And now you have that job booked on the calendar and that reoccurring service with that customer.
Hey, Aaron, what's the difference between the one-time or the automated?
So the one time is set to ultimately go out to the customers that we have set in the audience. The automated only goes when new people join in. Typically, we'll set up an audience campaign for when you have new customers coming in and a job gets booked. And that's a whole different type of audience segment that you would set up, because then it automatically pulls their information into the campaign. And it's great for new customers coming in. It's great for trying to get people onto memberships, things of that nature, so that, it's less legwork on your end and more of that automation aspect, which is phenomenal when it comes to Marketing Pro.
So if I did it as automated, it's kind of a set it or forget it kind of thing, right? So it just continually keeps taking all of my new, as they keep moving up with those time frames.
Yep. So typically what we'll
Love
do
it.
is, for anybody in the past, we'll set up that one-time campaign, and then we'll kind of mimic that same campaign and have it automated so that as people get to that date of 12 months prior or greater than 12 months, they'll get pulled into that for you. So then you don't really have to go back and look at it. The system already registers that this person is coming up, going to be greater than 12 months serviced. Now it's going to pull them into that campaign, and that email will get generated for you.
Wonderful. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Of course. Now that we have that set up, you're going to click this little plus button and want to click. And the great thing that I kind of want to point out here, now we don't have it set up for SMS, but you can do email and SMS messages in the same campaign, so that customer is not only getting an email, but getting a text message. And we'll dive a little bit further into that later. But we're going to want to click email. And then once we move on, you can select any template. It's going to be more generalized towards, your company, have that uniqueness behind it. But for this instance, we'll just select a template so that we can show you how everything flows. Now that you have the template in here, you can schedule what time of day that you want it. And typically what we like to do is set it up so that it's around early in the morning. So it's one of the first emails that those customers will see. Or you can do it, 11 p.m. at night, so that it's right there at the top of their inbox when they wake up in the morning. From there, we'll save it. And then we'll save and continue. And now your email campaign is set and ready to go. We have the goal, the tracking number, the audience, the content in there, and then it's going to have your details behind your company. And then you can click schedule campaign, and it'll schedule and be good to go. And there's nothing you have to worry about then.
I love it. So you said something about text messaging. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, of course. Now, typically, once these emails go out, just to kind of close off there, ServiceTitan is going to track everything, the clicks, the open rate, every job book that's directly from that campaign, especially with the tracking numbers implemented, which we can kind of dive into that a little bit with the reporting. But I do want to talk about the SMS campaign. So if we want to switch back to the slides here, we could dive a little bit further into that. Now, a quick question I would just kind of like to throw out there, how often are these customers reading their emails, right? I'd say in today's day and age, it probably changed that most people are just reading a text now. They're not really going through their emails as much as, we might be. But
Guilty.
And essentially, nobody does read their email as fast as they would read a text. 98% of text messages are opened mostly within 3 minutes of receiving them. That's why SMS is becoming the highest ROI channel for trades businesses using Marketing Pro. And one of the most powerful uses ultimately that we can dive into is appointment reminders. Typically 24 hours to 2 hours before. That's essentially what that's going to do, is lower your no-show rate, which is where we've seen it. And some of the text that you can send is typically like, your company tech will be at 123 Main Street tomorrow between 10 a.m. and noon. Reply confirmed to lock it in. This is where we've seen that the no-show rate has dropped dramatically, typically looking around 30 to 40% fewer no-shows for clients who have implemented this into their system. Just some other things to highlight ultimately too is just like post-job satisfaction follow-up, which essentially ties into, increasing your reviews, which we'll dive a little bit into review management, seasonal campaign blast. Typically, for examples like winterization before first freeze, or, seasonal maintenance, things of that nature. Anything like unsold follow-up for an estimate or unpaid invoices, which, you don't want to leave money left on the table ultimately. So any money that's out there, you want to go ahead and chase after it. And why not utilize Marketing Pro to its full advantages, especially with the SMS marketing. And then just, another thing to ultimately point out too is like membership renewal reminders that you can have, scheduled to go out on 30, 14, 7 days prior to, so that you have it ready to go, and all good in that nature there.
And of course, there's the emergency campaigns. I think a lot of people just saw a bunch of really bad weather across the country. So it's very good that, you've got that opportunity to kind of hit your customers really fast with that.
Yeah, no, you can't forget about the emergency campaigns, especially with the type of storms in the winter that we had this year. You wanna be on top of those things there.
For sure.
But before we move on to review management, just want to make a quick note on compliance for texting. So Marketing Pro does handle the SMS opt-in/opt-out management automatically. So any customer who replies stop are immediately removed. This keeps you compliant with the TCPA regulations without you having to manage it manually. So just more of that automation that you have really just makes it, less legwork on your end and more of like a set it and forget it type of thing. But moving on here, over to the review management. So one quick question I want to ask, what happens right now when a tech completes a job? Does the customer automatically get a request to leave a review? In most cases, from what we've seen, the answer is sometimes, if we remember. Marketing Pro changes that to always automatically. And here's what the workflow ultimately looks like. A job is marked completed in Service Titan. 2 hours later, automatically, the customer gets a text that says, "Hi, customer. Thank you for choosing my company. Could you take 30 seconds to leave a review?" And if they click on the link and give you a high rating, they're routed directly to your Google Business profile. And if they give you a bad rating, it's routed directly to you privately, so you can address it before it even hits the internet. It's called smart review routing. And ultimately, it's a game changer for reputation management when it comes to increasing the reviews. And we all know how important reviews are for things across the board. Google LSA, Google My Business profile, even just to implement onto your website as a showcase and have it on there for other customers to see. And typically, like what we see just, from the stats that we see on the board, that 87% of consumers check their online reviews before hiring a contractor. I know I'm one of them. Even,
Guilty.
for restaurants, just as like a funny example, we're checking these reviews. Everyone's looking at reviews. So it's super important that you stay on top of them and that it's automatically generated when a job is completed for customer satisfaction. Another couple stats here is that typically for most homeowners to actually call you, they want to see somewhere between a 4 to, we'll say average 4.8 star rating. We know how hard it is to get a 5.0 rating, but, the closer you are to that 5.0, the more likely, I should say, is that a customer is going to call you and reach out. And that kind of leads into the next stat that we see a 31% more revenue generated on average with businesses that have 50 plus reviews. So the more reviews that you can get, go ahead and chase after them and set up that automation, because then it's like we said, the whole thing is legwork. The less legwork you have to do and the more automation that we have, the better off that you're going to be in the long run. And
1000%.
Exactly. And typically too, with using these automated review requests, there's around a 2 to 3% X on your review count within 90 days. And I mean, who's going to complain about that when you see, you get 3 jobs completed in a day, you have another 4 jobs the next day. Within a week, on average, you're seeing maybe 20 plus more reviews get added to your Google business profile. So we want to make sure that we're utilizing the review management and the reputation management to its full extent.
And for those of you running Google Ads, right? So if you're using Google Ads or thinking about it, the integration is going to change how you look at your ad spend. So most businesses know their cost per click, but very few know their cost per book job or their revenue per campaign. So Marketing Pro gives you that. When you connect your Google Ads account to ServiceTitan, every call from an ad gets a unique tracking number, which is what Aaron showed you guys when we were setting that up, correct? When that call books a job, that job is tied to that campaign. When the job is complete and invoiced, that revenue is attributed back to the specific ad keyword that drove the call. You can literally see I spent $2,000 on Google Ads this month and it generated $22,000 in revenue. That's kind of clarity that lets you confidently scale your ad spend. So connecting Google Ads account, you're going to go ahead and go to settings, integrations, and then Google Ads. And then you're going to assign that tracking phone numbers to each campaign as you go through. So being able to connect those, see your cost per lead, revenue per campaign, calls booked versus missed, top performing keywords, and then your job type breakdown by source. So being able to see those at a quick click within Marketing Pro is a total game changer.
Okay, now this is where, having the Google Ads integrated, how are you going to track them ultimately? And this is where Marketing Pro really separates itself, is the campaign tracking and reporting. And ultimately, you're not just looking at open rates and click rates, you're looking at revenue, ROI percentage. The Marketing Pro dashboard shows you for every campaign, how many customers received it, how many opened it, how many calls you got, how many booked jobs came from it, what the total revenue generated was from each job. And that end-to-end attribution is essentially where it stands alone in terms of the marketing tools that simply cannot provide this high-level overview of revenue generated, job marketing cost, and an ROI percentage for you. So the major things that we're going to take away from the campaign tracking is the revenue attribution. So the total revenue that's from jobs booked via any campaign. And that's where essentially the Google Ads integration will come into play handy for you there, because it pulls the cost directly in. Anything from an outside marketing perspective that you have implemented into ServiceTitan, you'll be able to track all of that from there. Another one that we see is the cost per acquisition. So your total campaign cost divided by the new customers acquired, allowing you to have that overview of what that cost looks like, leading into what the campaign ROI is. So like I was mentioning, the cost on what the campaign is versus the actual revenue generated, it automatically does that calculations when you input the cost there. And then the other thing that you'll be able to see that we talked about was the booking rate. How many calls are you receiving from it? How many jobs are actually coming from those campaigns? And it pretty much just gives you that, like I said, high level overview of all your marketing campaigns that you have across the board. And it's a one-stop shop for it. So you're not going from platform to platform to platform. You go right into your ServiceTitan, go to marketing overview, and it breaks down every single campaign. And that's where you're going to see where you're making the most money in terms of your marketing needs.
Thank you, Aaron. That's amazing. So with automations and triggers, right? So you've got your marketing that runs 24/7 without touching a button. So you're looking at a job complete. You're going to send a review request 2 hours post job. So it's going to be an email and maybe an SMS with that one, right? 1 year since service, that's a win back. Time for your annual tune-up, maybe just an email. Seasonal change, it's a batch blast to HVAC list before first freeze. So again, we're wanting to make sure we're hitting those with each time those weathers changes, or it's getting really hot, or it's getting humid, however it might be, wherever part of the country you're in. So being able to send that email and SMS, it just puts it at everybody's forefront as it comes through. Membership expiring, being able to let them know, 30 days, 14 days, 7 days out, Maybe it's time for them to get their spring checkup. And then, of course, the winter checkup to make sure that they're getting out there. So we don't want them to lose those abilities within there. So that one would be a good SMS. And then your unsold estimates. So we can follow up within 24 hours, 72 hours, and 7 days. It's really just trying to keep it at the forefront, also making sure that we're following up to get those sold so that we can bring more attribution to the company. That would be a great SMS as well. And then at new customers. So there's like a welcome series, 3 emails over the first 30 days, just to keep us at the forefront of those customers. And that's a good one to send by email as well. So we've talked a lot about different campaigns. So the way that works within happening automatically, without your team having to remember to do any of it, ServiceTitan's automation engine lets you trigger. So like when X happens in ServiceTitan, automatically do Y in Marketing Pro. So like a job complete, send review request, customer inactive for 12 months, send a win back email. So being able to keep these running forever, that's the power of automation as you keep going through. So our Marketing Pro onboarding roadmap within Titan Pro from setup to first campaign in 30 days is your week 1 is that you've got your foundation. So connect Marketing Pro to ServiceTitan, set up that call tracking numbers, import and segment your customer list, and then enable 2-way SMS. Week 2 would be your first campaigns, launch your first email campaign, activate automated review requests, set up win-back sequences, connect Google Ads account. Week 3, that's where the automation comes in, right? So we want to build those trigger-based automations, configure seasonal campaigns, set up estimate follow-ups, and then test all the workflows end-to-end. Week 4 is where you're going to optimize and you're going to scale. So we're going to review campaign performance. So A/B test subject lines, expand audience segments, and set monthly reporting cadence. So are you guys ready to turn your customer list into revenue? So here's how to get started with Titan Pro Technologies. Let's book an onboarding call or where we're going to do an account analysis of your team or of your account and schedule those one-on-ones with our Titan Pro coach to kick off Marketing Pro setup. You receive your starter kit, get your pre-built campaign templates, segment guides, and setup checklists. And then you launch your first campaign. So we can go live within 7 days after you've come on with us as a member. And then we're going to turn it over to Q&A with Bernie.
You want to zoom in for me on the comments so I can see them? All right. Nice job, guys. I know it's 45 minutes almost here, about a half an hour. I know we've covered pretty much every major feature of Marketing Pro, everything from emails, SMS, reviews, Google Ads, reporting, automations. There's a lot in there, but there's also a lot of money on the table that comes with that, right? And, the next step for you guys would be to take the steps here and start implementing some of the things that you've learned, or, you can schedule time with us and we'd be happy to walk you through some of this stuff in your own system and what it looks like. But right now, what I want to make sure that I do is get to some Q&A here. So if anybody has a question, feel free to drop it down in the chat. And I'll just, I'll start with one here for you guys. And Jen, this might be one for you, but how long does it typically take for someone to get this stuff set up the right way?
Well, we just kind of outlined it was about 4 weeks, right? We want to make sure that we're segmenting correctly and getting those audiences set up. So, but always keep in mind, guys, we don't just do Marketing Pro. We do a little of everything. So we're also helping you get everything set up within your system and making sure that your team knows how to set it up and be able to utilize it as well.
Yeah. All right, good. And then one question we have here is the size of someone's list. Does that matter? Does the size matter with the list?
No, Aaron, you'd be the best one to answer that one for sure.
No, I mean, for like specific to an audience, no, because I've set up campaigns specifically targeting the whole customer list. So 17,000 people if you have them in the system, 20,000 people if you have them in the system. It's going to target every customer that you have, but where we've seen a lot of success is really making it, as specific as possible to what you want to target. Because then, it's simple to set up the generic ones where you target all the customers. But to answer your question, no, there's no limit to the list.
Like you don't want to do a win back when somebody just bought a system, right? So you want to be careful. That's the whole point of those segments. So
Have you guys ever seen it where like someone might be a little bit messy from that sense where they do have those kinds of things built out and you have to spend time cleaning up? Do people typically not know what they do have set up right now that might be running?
Yeah, from what I've seen so far, and even still seeing some new things, I'd say as I come across new accounts I'm looking in, is that between including and excluding, you have to be super specific because one little tweak could mess up the whole segment for you. So there's been some cleaning up to do, but we've worked to get it down on what we're going to target, who we're going to target, and what things to include in there.
And Aaron, you have one right here on the screen. What if you don't have retention segments on the Marketing Pro dropdown?
So that I know that there is different tiers ultimately to Marketing Pro. So what I'm assuming that you have is just the standard audience. So that essentially is the retention segment for you. Or any you build out any audience segment for you there, and it could automate it for an acquisition or a retention segment. And you can ultimately go in and still build the same type of audiences around it. I worked with both of them.
All right. And here's another one here. So what tier of Marketing Pro do you suggest to maximize your ROI? Do you see success for people starting with Engage and then moving to expand with ads after the first year? And is Engage worth it on its own?
So I would say, obviously, you want to maximize everything. The highest tier is the best one to go with. But I have seen success with all the different tiers. It's just a matter of the capacity you're looking to have with Marketing Pro. So if you want every little kink and feature, you're gonna, of course, want to get one of those, the middle tier or the higher tier. But I have ultimately seen success. It's definitely worth it on its own. But like I said, if you want to fully take advantage of Marketing Pro, you're gonna want the higher tiers to have all those different features available to you.
Okay. I think I have one here that I can answer too. Is can Marketing Pro integrate with our existing CRM? And the answer is no. Unfortunately, Marketing Pro is a part of Service Titan. So you have to have Service Titan in order to be able to use Marketing Pro. Okay, let's give everybody a second here. Any other questions from the audience? There's a lot of you out there. We appreciate you being here today with us. Q&A time. Jen, I know you prepared extensively for this, and the deck was great. There's a lot going on here. Is there anything else that you want to add for the people out there?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest focus with Titan Pro, and like Bernie said in the very beginning, I'm the one who started the whole coaching part of this, right? So building it out and taking care of our clients has just always been top priority. Yeah, we love seeing our clients grow and make expansion within everything, and being able to do those SOPs and workflows and really honing in what they've got within their systems. I do see a question just came through. So Aaron, how granular do you think, or how granular do you like to get your campaigns?
I mean, typically I like to get as specific as possible. If we're going after unsold estimates, we're going to dive in and make sure that we get every single one that's, in your unsold estimates, follow up, unpaid invoices. We like to get pretty granular into them, with the capabilities that we have. So why not make it as detailed as possible, and get, down in the weeds with it, to, what you want to target. There's a lot of capabilities that you can have, utilizing these segments and the campaigns.
So Aaron, it looks like Riley also put another one in there. It says, for example, breaking down Google Ads by campaign, one Google Ads bucket LSA.
So with that kind of dives into, the Google Ads integration. If you do have that integration available and you have your Google Ads integrated, it actually breaks down each campaign that you have set up on the Google Ads platform in your marketing overview. So each campaign has its own bucket that you can see that brings in the cost. And then of course you're going to want to keep LSA separated from that, because that's just a different avenue from a Google Ads perspective.
And always remember, guys, with your different campaigns, you do want to make sure you have a different number with those. That way you can really track it through. One of the worst things we always see is when CSRs are taking the calls, and if it's not connected to, a marketing of any kind, when they ask them, because, of course, we got to do it to fill out those jobs, right? If they ask them, most times everybody's going to say, oh, I Googled you, but that's probably not how they found you. So we want to be able to know that we're attributing all of our dollars to the right avenues.
100%. And speaking of those dollars, we have a question here about costs. And I can tell you from the Titan Pro side of it, our costs, it depends on the level of support you get with us. We have a lot of different options, and we can work with pretty much anybody that's on Service Titan. But for you, Aaron and Jennifer, in terms of costs for Marketing Pro, would you like to elaborate on what that might look like for the average consumer?
I can't speak directly on the cost. That's not something they essentially share with us, unfortunately. So
we don't get to see that back end all the
yeah,
time,
we
guys.
don't get to see that. We just get to know, what features come with and whatnot. So I wish we could speak more on the cost. But I would definitely, if you're interested in the cost for Marketing Pro, I'd reach out.
What's the cost of not doing it? You know what I mean? We talked a lot today about how much money people leave on the table. So when you look at the numbers, what was it, Jen? Anywhere 50 to 100,000 at least sometimes that people leave out there. That's the true cost of not taking it a step like this and, having these things implemented in a big part of your system and your business. So I think, it's worth it, especially if you're on Service Titan and you're invested that way. You want to grow your company, you want to sell it. That's the right way to truly think about it, I think. But obviously we know dollars, it has to make sense. So we can talk about that more if you guys schedule a meeting with us or your Service Titan rep, whoever that might be. But the cost matters, but more importantly, the cost of not doing it, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, being able to do everything all in one place just makes such a big difference. And being able to really track it through makes even bigger difference, because God love our technicians. We always love our technicians, right? They don't always follow up on those estimates. And that's one of the things we really train on underneath the follow-ups of how much money everybody's leaving on the table. So being able to set it, forget it, and really keep following up and having those touch points really makes a big difference.
100%.
Yeah. All right. So we can give everybody here another second or two for any additional questions. I know it was good. We dropped a lot on them. Good information. So let's see if any more come through. Otherwise, what we can do is leave that QR code up there for them to schedule their next step with us to book a consultation, learn more about Marketing Pro, Service Titan, how we can all work together to make you guys some more money. And it looks like you guys did great because I don't see anything else coming through. Neri, did I miss anything?
No, I'll give a shout out to some of these people who can move across the country.
Cool. Who do we got up there? Michigan. Riley, what's up? Thank you. We got our boy from Philly, Josh Cheva. What's up? KP Roofing PA, how we doing? We got Orlando in the house, Jen.
Yeah, they're an hour and 15 from me. So please give us a call. I'd love to go take care of you there.
And Jennifer would love to come to your shop.
Yeah, absolutely. Christina, where are you located in Florida? I'd love to know about that.
I hope she says the Villages.
Well, then she'll be really close.
You have to go to Minnesota. All right.
Oh, they got a little of everything. I love it.
Yeah. We got Jersey in the house, obviously, with Aaron Coleman over there.
Oh, yeah.
More Jersey. A lot of Jersey love today.
We love our northern
Jersey
states.
people.
All right, we got a question. So, will setting up a drip for estimates save me from having office staff follow up on open estimates?
Yeah, short answer, yes. It's something where you set up the audience for those unsold estimates, and then you launch that campaign, and you can have it set up as an email or an SMS or both. I recommend doing both if you have that capability, and then you launch it, and you go back and see what jobs get booked off of it. Of course, if that's something internally you want to continue to do is, have the office staff follow up anyways. You can have this running in tandem with it, but it will save some work on, having okay, let me go back and check whether you just said it goes out, and you know, you can check in on it.
Yeah, that was a little bit what I was talking about under your follow-ups and unsold estimates, right? Our guys aren't always checking that. We're leaving money on the table. So we want to make sure that our team is really getting that honed in so that we can make some more money and be able to go out there and get everything closed. So yeah, it's a great way to really have that touch point. Very good question. Thank you for that.
Yeah, these are all really good questions. You guys are great. Okay. Yeah. All right, everybody. That was we got a lot of great questions and a lot of great information from the experts here, Aaron and Jennifer. If you want to work more with them, have a consultation set up with me, one of our other team members over here. We would love to help you guys out, get this stuff rolling and implemented so that you can find more success with ServiceTitan and make more money. If you want to grow your business, sell your business, be the biggest dog in your backyard, just be more efficient, whatever it is, we are here for you. So we look forward to seeing you all again soon. The next episode of Titan Talk. Jen, Aaron, thank you so much. And have a great rest of your week, guys.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Guys.